Hello everyone, this is Khai Lai's showcase of Project 2, task number 3, which is the full frontier exploration where the robot can self-navigate the whole map. So I'll go ahead and run my bash script, which will automate the process of setting up the necessary environments for me to showcase this project. Once Arvis has loaded up, we can go ahead and open a configuration file, which I set up in advance to include all the necessary layers, like the camera, the marker array, and things like that. So we don't have to manually add everything in from the very beginning. So this will be in the same location as my package. Project 2, Catkin workspace, or my package. It will be inside my package here. Harvest config. So as you can see here, the robot is making its way towards the nearest centroid. So right now, the strategy that it is employing when it comes to ranking which centroid to go to is it is always going to the nearest centroid by default. So I implemented this algorithm using the uh, by having the robot to choose the centroid with the closest Euclidean distance to itself. Uh, this Eu- this Euclidean distance works perfectly fine when it comes to being a ranking algorithm, since um, it serves as a lower bound heuristic for the real shortest path cost. So as you can see, the robot is moving toward this green central here. I also set up my main function so that you can go in and specify which uh, uh, Centroid ranking algorithm you would like the robot to use. So by default, it's always going to the nearest cluster, but you can also set it to always go to the biggest cluster. Uh, Between those two algorithms, both of those strategy works fine when it comes to frontier exploration. But I do find that having the robot move to the nearest cluster tend to produce a much more logical path, since it's kind of unsatisfying. Since if you were to have the robot to move to the biggest cluster, sometimes it will ignore a nearby decent sized cluster for a slightly bigger cluster but much further away. So the path that the robot produced to explore the whole map is very weird, and it takes a much longer time compared to having it to greedily explore the nearest cluster. So as you can see, the robot is making its way towards the last cluster here. Yep. And I also set up my program so that it will self-terminate once the number of cluster on the map gets down to zero, which means there are no more space to explore. Yep. And once the exploration is finished, my node will self-terminate and the robot will return to the default position at the coordinates -1 and -110. Yep, here it is making its way back to the resting position. So the so I program it so that it will ignore any small size cluster, for example, like here and here, since those small size cluster tend to be in very awkward location for the robot to visit. And yeah, I guess the pathfinder is trying to figure out its way back here because this is the default resting location the robot always returns to once it finishes its exploration task. Okay, yes. Yeah, but you get the whole point. It works. Okay. Thank you so much for watching.